Hello, how's it going? So I'm just making this video as a bit of an introduction to my new art channel that I'm going to be doing some videos for. So I've been doing drawing on and off for a while now, since I was young really, but it's not really something that I ever really put a lot of time into. But over the last several years I've been doing more of it than I normally would have, and I sort of started getting back into it about 3.5 years ago when I started doing tattoo, or learning to practice doing tattoos. So first I made a page on Facebook and then an Instagram page, I think probably around the same sort of time, and these were mostly just to have as a reference in case somebody was going to have a look at my art because of a reference for tattooing and stuff like that. So I just wanted to have like an online sort of catalogue of things that I've done. And I was going to kind of move forward from there and just see where it went, but I was always living in a really small, pretty quiet town for most of my life, and during the coronavirus lockdown time, that was around the time that I was supposed to be moving, but I got caught in lockdown, and that's when I started doing a bit more of this. But then I moved to a bigger city, and I couldn't really focus on this because I was doing a job for about 2 years where I was working probably 40 to 50 hours a week. So when I'd get time off the job, I'd just explore the city and stuff like that. I didn't really have enough time to really focus on this. I was kind of like burnt out after the job, to be honest. But as I moved back for a while, I don't even know where I'm going from here, but I've had a lot of spare time, and I find that doing regular things is pretty impractical, so I might as well just sort of work on my other hobby, I guess, which is art and drawing. So I've been doing a bit more of that lately, getting back into that. Last year I was really focusing on doing woodwork. I was actually making a lot of things and selling those online, so I got really into collecting power tools, like a really it became like quite a obsession almost. Like I was more focused on buying the tools and making stuff, but then justifying spending it on, justifying spending a lot more money to buy more and more tools. So I was aiming for an entire shed worth of tools. I went from having like a few things, just basic things that I needed for doing a few jobs, to pretty much having an entire shed worth. It got a little bit out of hand, and that's what I was doing last year. So I was making like wooden boxes and planters and things like that, and like weatherproofing them and selling those online. But this year has been more about art for me, so I haven't been doing the woodwork and making things now because of where I'm at. I just don't have the room to do that anymore. But it sort of wasn't really going anywhere. Like I would sell a lot, like as many as I could make, but the thing is that it took so long as well. So I decided to focus more on this. I was supposed to be doing more tattoo and things last year, but so anyway, this is going to be my channel that I'm going to try and upload a bunch of videos of me just doing random pictures for. So with what I'm doing on this one anyway is I'm just drawing a bunch of random faces. So to me this was just kind of a bit of a practice to sort of sketching. So I'm a bit of a procrastinator when it comes to art, and there's a saying that I saw online the other day, like a while back, not the other day, what am I on about, but yeah, it was something like, that somebody said that procrastination isn't necessarily a result of like to do with laziness. It's more about the fear of putting something off because you've got a kind of fear of the difficulty of doing it, sort of. It wasn't exactly how it went, but it was something similar along those lines. And for me, I would find that that's one of the reasons that I did procrastinate when it came to drawing and stuff. It wasn't that I was really lazy, although I am, but it was more so along the fact that there's the stress of feeling like I have to do a job properly, because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to things, and I've got quite bad OCD as well. It's probably got some connection to that, but it's like, you know, not that when I say perfectionist, not that I'm trying to imply I'm anything close to perfect, but what I mean is that I get really frustrated if I can't do things the way I want, and I find art incredibly stressful because it's like, you know, I see it as like having to really take the time to put in a whole lot of effort to make sure things that don't, you know, like turn out like completely awful. But yeah, so it's like I can't just like sit there and just it's not something that I use to make myself less stressed. It's something that I find more so because it's like I have to really focus on it, and it's almost like pushing myself to do maths, because I find that art is a lot like maths when it comes to things, and when it comes to, say, memory, like proportions is one thing that I struggle with. That's, I think, probably the hardest thing, looking at something, copying it, and getting the proportions right. You know, because you have to, I think people's minds work a certain way, and for me it's like judgment when it comes to the distance between things, and that's one of the things I find hard. And it's like, so I have to work out the distance between certain things, and also if I'm drawing, like, say, fur on an animal or hairs on a head, or something that has a whole lot of the same thing, like, say, a fence or whatever, if I count how many of these things are, my eyes get like confused, and I sort of find it hard to differentiate little details from each other. So to me it's almost like a maths equation where you have to calculate how many things there are in a row and what proportions and stuff. So I find it somewhat sort of, you know, stressful to go through to really push myself to do this. So it's not something that I do a lot. So in terms of my history with art and things like that, it's like I had an interest in it since I was a kid. I remember sitting at the table and I had like this jar full of like pens and stuff like that, and I guess I just had a natural sort of interest in it from when I was younger. And I did a bit of it in primary school, and I did do an art class for an after school one a couple of times, I think, but I can't remember what happened there. But yeah, I did have a bit of an interest in school with it. But that's probably because that was kind of like one of these things where it's not like a regular class. It's not like doing boring sort of schoolwork, you know. But yeah, I was always quite into it, but I was never somebody who was like really particularly good. I was good enough to impress people who didn't really know how to draw anything but a stick figure, kind of, sort of, you know. It's kind of like, say, you're able to change an oil filter and replace a spark plug or some fuses or something, and your friends think you're a mechanic for it, sort of thing, you know. Like, it's one of these things where it's like I can do enough to impress people who aren't qualified to know anything about it. But nah, anyway, it's something that I did sort of enjoy, but it's not really something that I ever took seriously, to be honest. I was just one of these people who was too arrogant to sort of be like, oh, well, I don't have to learn anything, I'm just, you know, I'll just go about it. People give me a little bit of compliment here and there for it, you know, like give me some compliments here and there for it, you know, when I was younger. And I was like, I never really took it seriously. I never really bothered to improve myself. I never really bothered to study technique or anything like that. I don't really know if it's sort of like, I feel like it's something that you can learn to a degree, but it's also something that I feel like people just have a natural talent for, I guess. Like, I don't know, that's just what I assume whenever I see these people who do these lifelike pictures, you know, that they just know how to do it, you know. But I suppose you can increase your skill to a degree, but looking back, the current level of skill I have at the moment is roughly the same as it was when I was 14 years old. I remember I drew this picture of this girl when I was like 14, like an actual like face and stuff like that, and I think my skill level is basically the same as that. However, I have got a bit better at certain things, like I've developed how to do, I guess, lighting a bit better and certain types of shading and understanding with like, I I don't know, light and dark and stuff like that. But the rough sort of idea for like things for me is the skill level is fairly the same, so I don't really know about improving that much. But then again, I haven't really done a whole lot. I'm somewhat of a procrastinator when it comes to actually doing pictures, because it's like I don't know, I take a few years between pictures. I do like 2 pictures a year and then I put it off. I say I'm going to do it, and then another 2 years passed, I get back into it, do a few more pictures. But after I left my job, I've been back here for about nearly 2 years. But yeah, after I left my job, I was staying in my van for a while, and during the day, I would just because it was like one of these ones that had like the freedom camping stuff in it, like the shelving and all that stuff. So I would take this like wooden lid off the off one of the storage things and just have that on my knee and just use that as like a desk, and I would just sit there and draw like tattoo designs during the day and stuff like that. Between getting drunk, sometimes I would just get drunk. I would wander off down into town, grab some booze, come back, and then I'd draw tattoo designs until it got dark, because I couldn't see at night time. I had to stop drawing because I couldn't see. And yeah, so I'd do that for a while, and then I started getting back into it a bit more on and off last year, and sort of doing the tattoo and things like that. But it's never really something that I put a whole lot of time into, but I feel like I'd quite like to, I guess. I mean, but anyway, the point of this channel really is just me gonna be doing a bunch of random pictures, and some of it also doing tattoo and stuff like that as well. So I've got a whole tattoo set up now, pretty much almost everything that I need. I just want a couple more machines. I don't have a full set of colours yet, but I've got everything else, and I've got like this desk set up here, well, hopefully moving soon, but got pretty much a whole heap of different art equipment now. So rather than just telling myself I'm going to put it off until I buy more equipment, I got to stop buying equipment and just start actually doing pictures. So yeah, anyway, for this one, yeah, this was mostly just really meant to be like a collage of different faces. So why I started this picture was really to try and sort of get a bit of that fear of drawing out of myself, because it's like I wanted to try and draw without a guide kind of thing, because normally I would, like some of these pictures I still drew up a bit of it like a guide, and what I mean by that is like a light sort of pencil drawing, and then I go over it with a pen, so that way it's not permanent. First I can make alterations and things like that, but I started off doing pictures like the female face at the back was done without a guide, so I just wanted to do like sketches and stuff of people to sort of familiarize myself with it and leave myself open to making more errors than normal, so I can sort of just get a bit used to it, you know. I feel like I take it too seriously all the time, so I need to just start, you know, like loosen up a bit and just do a bunch of pictures without guides and just be like, well, get myself used to using a pen a bit more. So that's really what this drawing was about. And so I just wanted to sort of draw a few random different faces and stuff like that, and I coloured the background in because I just wanted to sort of feel like I completed it. I have a thing for black and red, so I tried to use a bit of red as a touch of colour for some of these pictures. Most of my drawings that don't really have a particular purpose, sort of, I try to have like black and red because it's just sort of my thing. I've got like a colour scheme going on where I live, and all of my stuff I buy in black or black and red. I guess it stems from like being a goth for quite a significant amount of my life, and that's just what I like. But yeah, I also quite like the artwork sort of style with like Sin City and things like that, which is like, you know, black and white but with a touch of colour. So yeah, faces aren't really something, as you can probably tell, that I would normally do. I kind of like sort of just traditional kind of designs, like say how you would use in more simplistic sort of tattoos and things like that, like skulls and like gothic art and all of that sort of stuff. But I never really had a full-on direction throughout my life with what I would draw. I would just draw anything and everything that I liked. I kind of did prefer drawing dark sort of stuff, like skulls, gothic things, all of that sort of stuff when I was a bit younger, and I still do a lot of that, but now I'm just completely all over the place with what I do. So my ideal would be, I would like to be able to draw like people and do realism, because I feel like you're not really an artist unless you can do proper realism. But you know, I just sort of, when I can stop being stressed about worrying about how good things turn out, I can, you know, just sort of enjoy doing this to a degree. I still do like working with a pen and things like that. But anyway, so this is this picture. This took me like hours and hours to do, but anyway, yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and if you've made it this far, and I'll try and make some better pictures later. See ya.